Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be me going over the schedule that I have created for the 2025-2026 school year for both my kids, as well as kind of taking a look into my planner and how I've got everything scheduled and set up there. If you're new to my channel, hi, my name's Nicole. I'm a homeschooling mom / part-time working from home mom. I have an 11-year-old, brand new 11-year-old, going into 6th grade, and my son is 4 doing some pre-K work. Okay guys, so this is, I think, my third iteration of a schedule. I feel like I finally have something that I'm comfortable sharing. I do have a few years of homeschooling under my belt now, so I do feel kind of confident in what we can accomplish in a day, what my kids are capable of handling. What I don't really know is how well it's going to be mingling them both, my rising 6th grader and rising pre-Ker, because while I did do some homeschooling with my son last year, it was more when we had time, when he wanted to. It wasn't as planned and formal as it's going to be this coming year. So that is the one thing I don't know. So this schedule could very well change depending on how that works, his cooperation, because again, he is in pre-K, so I do have formal things planned for him, but I'm definitely not going to force it if he doesn't want to do it. So he does love school. I don't anticipate that happening very much, but just to kind of let you guys know. So before I get into the schedule, let me kind of go over the planner that I'm using for this year. This is the School Nest. I did get the handcrafted one. And the reason I did that is because last year I got the paint series, which I loved, but I had to take it apart so that I could bind it, because I really do like to bind it. I like being able to open it and just close it. It just makes it so much easier for me. So this actually only contains about half the pages from the School Nest. I had purchased a digital planner a couple of years ago, and I used some pages from that, as well as what you just saw. I have my own things that I have created and added in here, and I will constantly bind and unbind to add things in here as the year goes on. So I definitely need to be able to bind this. So I honestly really do enjoy some of the things that School Nest has to offer. Some things I do find valuable, and if I couldn't buy it, I would in some way try to replicate that. So, okay. So before I turn you around and go through all the schedule in this planner, I want to let you know kind of how our schedule is set up. So last year, I did something where Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we did certain things every single week. And the problem that I had with that is that, say we missed Monday for some reason, then on Tuesday, I would be trying to do Monday. And then on Wednesday, I would be trying to do Tuesday. And it kind of got a little confusing. So something that I've implemented 100% for my son and partially for my daughter is a loop schedule. And this just feels so freeing to me because it does give me a level of flexibility that I was definitely lacking last year. So for example, on the things that I don't have a loop for, say I have like math Monday through Thursday. If I miss a day, I'm not going to stress out about it. I'll just move on to the next lesson the day that I can. But there is subjects like grammar and vocabulary where I have multiple curriculums, and in order to use all the resources I have, a loop schedule seems to be the most easy way to accomplish that. All right, guys, so now I'm going to flip the camera around so I can go over the schedule I have in here and the ins and outs of how our year is going to work. Okay, guys, here is the planner. As I mentioned before, this is a handcrafted one. I got the 12-month, 52-week undated. And as you will see going through here, not all of this includes the School Nest. Some of it is my own. This is my calendar. I have it color-coded here. This is school days. The blue is off of school, whether it's vacation or a birthday. First and last day is green, and summer break is purple. So what I like to do is I like to take all of May and all of June off where I live. It gets pretty hot by the 4th of July. So we're inside in the afternoons unless we're at the pool. So it's a great time to start. This year we loosely started June 23rd. We did math and science, and we're doing a novel study. Then starting July 16th right here is when we're going to go back in it, the full swing of things, potentially the 21st. But we've loosely been doing school prior, and I probably should have put a different color for that. I do schedule out 36 weeks. It is not required in the state I'm in, but a lot of curriculums are 36 weeks. So that's kind of how I like to set it up. It gives me some flexibility. Sometimes we do a little bit more, sometimes we do a little bit less, but this just gives me an idea. As you'll see here, we have 2 weeks off at the end of August. We have 2 weeks off here at the end of September and October. We have a couple days off for Thanksgiving. We have 2 weeks off for Christmas, and I have a week off here in the middle of the last part of the year. I do maybe think we're going to be taking another break here, and if that's the case, we'll extend it. I have our last day as May 1st. If we need to, we'll go here, but I really, like I said, we like May off completely and most of June if I can help it. Okay, guys, let's go on to my schedule. So before I get into my daily schedule, I kind of need to describe how this will work. So again, this is something that I have created, this schedule. Monday is different. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are all the same. And Friday is different. Okay. So something that I got from the other digital planner that I will try and remember to link below is this attendance log. I love this attendance log. This attendance log is not up to date because I've forgotten to do it. But I have June. I started in June here, so I have the days that we've done up through the point. We've gone a little further than this. But I really like having an attendance log. It is not required, but it lets me know how much school we're doing, how far we are. It's just really good for me to go back and reflect. So I really like this. The School Nest does have a tracker where it has like up to 31 days that you could use it. I don't know why. I just really like these dots. I just really like them for some reason. I will do half a circle if we only do a half day. As well. Okay, so here is my daughter's schedule, and I will go through this. As I mentioned, I have loops and not loops, but first let me go through those loops first to have this make a little more sense. Okay, so what I have here is this is my daughter's loop information. So the loops that she has, the first one is vocabulary loop. We have this because I have 2 curriculums. We're doing daily doodle vocabulary. We're doing this 4 days a week. Even though this is technically 5 days a week, you do 4 words. Like for example, here's 3 words, here's the 4th word, and then you write a paragraph about it, and it continues in that fashion. My daughter always does this in 3 to 4 days. So I just have us 4 days doing this, and then the 5th day, we will do word ladders. This is for grades 4 to 6. We start it in 5th. I'm not worried about if we finish it all in 6th grade. We'll probably be almost done, but there isn't really anything that continues on from here. So we're in no rush, and this is a lot of fun. So that's kind of how it goes. So every day will be different. So we'll just mark this off as we go. So I know where I am. So like, for example, okay, she did doodle 1 today. We mark it off. So we can just look here to see where she is in the loop. Then for grammar, I have 3 different things in the grammar loop. I have first 4 days of Fix-It Grammar. And then I also have grammar for writing, Hearth and Story, grade 6, which is the next time. And then I also have this sentence combining bell ringers. This is where we take sentences like this, and she puts it into 1 or 2 correct compound and complex sentences. So she'll do 4 days of Fix It, 1 of Hearth and Story, and 1 of combining a sentence. We already got more than halfway through this already. And then Hearth and Story has how many lessons? Okay, so we have 81, which is great because the next level for Hearth and Story is level 7 to 8 combined. So if we do not finish that this year, I am not worried about it. If we like it, we'll just keep going with it. So we're doing this once a day. So we have 4 days of Fix It right here, and then 1 day of Hearth and Story, and 1 day of combined sentences. Now this is a 30-week program, 4 times a week. And like we just saw, this was, this was 81 lessons. So I think we could complete most of this year. Okay, so now the next loop that I have is her mental health loop. So she has 2 different things that we cover. She has independent loop and she has a curriculum loop. And as you see on the side, I also have a note how many times a day we're doing it and what days. So for example, mental health independent loop, we do 1 time a day, Monday through Thursday. It takes about 5 minutes. This mental health curriculum loop is 1 time a week on Fridays for 20 minutes. Okay, so in this loop that she does independently Monday through Thursday, we have this Let's Do School gratitude workbook. This I've talked about before. You buy on Etsy and she does ship it to you. She doesn't let you print it, but she does do nice quality paper. I don't like this thing that she has it in, but that's okay. So she does work on this one day. This is her gratitude workbook, Let's Do School. So for this various workbooks, it's something like this. Like we've been working through Sometimes I Have Big Feelings. We are almost done with this one. She really likes this one. And the next one that we're going to be doing is Sometimes I'm Shy. Now, if you saw my recent video with her on the 5th grade book review, she may not seem like she's very shy, but that was really just a camera and me. But day to day when she meets people, she is really shy. And so she did ask to do Sometimes I'm Shy. This is a really great workbook. She really likes it. And she can work through this on her own. The last thing is her gratitude journal free write, which we just got a journal for her to write in. So she just works through these. And as I've done before, I'll just mark them down so I know where we are in our loop and the days that we're doing them. Okay, so the mental health curriculum, 1 time a week. That's going to be either Forest, Rain, Wanders, Mindfulness, and Calm curriculum. I've talked about this a few times. I'm really looking forward to getting started on this. So we'll do this and we'll circle through with the Big Life Journal for kids. We have been working through this for a while. There are quite a bit of lessons in here, and we do it with lesson plans and the podcast kit. I really recommend it. It is fantastic. This particular one is 7 to 10, and she did just turn 11. I'm not really worried about it. They do have another one that is for 11 plus, but I don't know if they have the podcast that goes with it. So we work through these. We just switch every week. 1 time is this, 1 time is this. We definitely won't be getting through this year. Maybe this we'll be able to finish. Okay. So now we will go into what I consider her non-loop information. So every single day she's going to do math, which I anticipate to take 30 to 40 minutes. She will then be doing her times tables, which we just love. And once we're done with these, we'll just circle back again. So she does that. I put on the side here how much time I think it will take based on experience. Then the next one she does every day or every Monday through Thursday is the Modern Speller. Then we go into, she does writing and rhetoric or a novel study. So I have writing and rhetoric level 3, and we're potentially doing 4 or 5. I'm not quite sure, but we're starting with 3. So she'll either do that unless we're doing a novel study. Like for example, right now we're doing a Rover story using this Book Bandit. I really like it. So if we're doing this, then we will. However, if we're in a novel study, but we are just reading and we're not actually doing the work in it that particular day, then we will also do writing and rhetoric. Okay, so then the next thing we do every Monday through Thursday is geography or science. I have decided to do, like when we're doing science, we're just doing science. When we're doing geography, we're just doing geography. So for example, we are starting the year with our space. I got this night sky unit from For the Love of Homeschooling. This will take us 16 days, and then we're going on to Galaxies and Constellations from For the Love of Homeschooling, and that will also be 16 days. That will take us 32 school days to do it. However, by the time that we officially start school on July 21st, more than likely we will have already finished night sky and we will be going into Galaxies and Constellations. That's why I really like to do some sort of science or geography in the summer along with math. It really does help me throughout the year not to feel so pressured. So once we're done with both of these units, then we are going to do our geography unit. I have part 1 and part 2. And this, I believe, has 78 days, school days. So we will go through this until we've completed those 78 school days. And then from then we will move on to the prehistory unit that I created. That is 63 days. Now that will definitely run into the summer a little bit. My goal is to be done with that before we start the next school year where she's going into 7th, because she'll be doing ancient history, and we will for sure be able to finish that by the summer. We'll do what we did we'll do what we did this year. We'll take May off, and then June we'll start back up and finish it up before she starts. She doesn't actually start with my mom, who is currently teaching her history and French at the moment, until Labor Day. So again, we have time. So that's kind of how I'm doing geography and science. Now, this geography does have science included in it. It is a culture study and a biome, like ecology type study as well. So she will be doing both with this geography as well. So okay. And then the next thing that she does every day is mental health reading. Sometimes she does this with me. Sometimes she does it on her own. Right now we're working through Just Breathe, meditation, mindfulness, movement, and more. I've talked about this before. This is by Malika Chopra, Deepak Chopra's granddaughter, I believe. This is really great. It teaches her how to take control of her body, how to stay focused and centered. And it's just a really fantastic book for anyone, really. Okay, like another example is I got this Dictionary for a Better World, poem, quotes, and antidotes from A to Z. I love this, you guys. This is so fun the way it's written, everything that's in it. I just really, really, really like it. It just has so much cool stuff in it. So what we do is we have a book and we read through it till we're done and we start another book. And I did list the books that we're going to be using in my curriculum picks, the electives. But this is the first one that we're starting the year with, as we're getting close to being done with this one. And then, like I said, sometimes I read to her. Sometimes I don't. She does on her own. And then a read aloud. So like, for example, right now we are doing a Rover story. Sometimes we'll read at bedtime. Sometimes we'll read on the couch just in the morning first thing. Sometimes we'll listen to the book. Spotify is awesome for that because I don't actually have to purchase the book like I do on Audible. I can just listen to parts of it. So I'll just find where we are and listen to it. You have a certain number of hours with premium. So I really enjoy that. So that's how we fit it in. And then every Friday we have Logic, which takes us about 10 minutes. And this is a logic book that we're starting with. And then we have poetry that we do for 10 minutes. It might be a little bit more. I'm only doing poetry one day a week versus every day because I feel like we can spend more time on it. So I've got the nature poetry and then A Light in the Attic by Shel Silverstein. She loves him. Looking forward to that. And then we're going to do our mental health curriculum, which I showed you before. That's either the Big Life Journal or the Mindfulness by Forest Rain Wander. And then we'll be doing art, which is 15 to 60 minutes, depending on what it is. We did get Blossom and Root level 4. I really like this and the artists that were being used. This is for ages 9 to 12, so she definitely has room to grow. I do not think that we're going to get through all of this because also Fridays will be any makeup for geography and or science and math. So for example, if we got behind in the week, then we will be doing that on Fridays as well. So I haven't put that in there. So as you can see for Fridays, if this lesson only took us 15 minutes from Blossom and Root, you're looking at 55 minutes, an hour, so I'm thinking we'll spend maybe an hour and a half on Fridays. Anything extra will go on Fridays as well. I really wanted to give us a day off, but I also didn't want Monday through Thursday so jam-packed because I'll show you in my schedule how much each day is going to take. But so let's go back to her schedule that I had in the beginning. So like Mondays, and this is kind of the order that we do things as well. She'll do her mental health independent loop on her own where she reads that book for a couple minutes. She'll go into math. She'll do times tables. Then she'll do her vocabulary and grammar loop, modern speller, and then her mental health book. So, this independent loop was her workbooks. I always like to start the day. Those were these right here. I like to start the day with that. And then she ends it kind of with her mental health book that she reads. And then we do the read aloud. Again, that's not always right here, but sometimes we can fit it. And then we have writing and rhetoric and the novel study and geography and science. So the things that I do with her every single day are these two down here, writing and rhetoric, geography and science. Some of this is independent. For math, she watches videos. I go through any issues or questions she has. I'm definitely around. I can hear the video. But and we go over the answers together, but most of these are independent. Modern speller, I will have to dictate to her every other day. I do kind of go over some of these lessons with her, but a lot of these I can get her started and then she can do independently. And it's actually the same Monday through Thursday, as you can see. And then Friday, I do put in here geography, science optional, read aloud optional, and then I should put in here math optional. So this is laid out. So I can just look at the day and be like, okay, this is what I'm doing. And then I go to the loops. I look, where have I checked off? Which one am I getting? And I'll go and grab whatever the curriculum is for the day. Okay, so the next thing that I have in here is these trackers. These are a School Nest item. I love them so much. I love keeping track of how many times we have touched on a subject. And I made copies of this because I really wanted a lot of them. Because I like to touch on, see, I have word letters, daily doodle vocabulary, writing and rhetoric. We have, this is a read aloud, reading only. This is when we're doing a read aloud, but there's a novel study attached to it, but we're not doing anything on the novel study. I'll put that here. If this is where we work on the actual novel study. Here I have R for Rover, and I have something in here where I talk about what the abbreviations are. So this tells me we've done Rover these days. We actually have done a little more. I haven't caught up on this. And then I have Mostos Press Literature, which is something that we do when we are not doing a read aloud or a novel. Some of the books that my daughter's going to be doing this year are independent, so we will be touching on Mostos Press. I didn't bring that out to show you, sorry. That will be writing and rhetoric or Mostos. So essentially, if I'm not doing a novel, then I'll be switching back and forth between writing and rhetoric and Mostos. Okay, and then here I have combining sentences, Hearth and Story grammar, Fix-It grammar, vocabulary notebook. This is a School Nest notebook that we use. I absolutely love it. This is the notebook. It's really amazing. We just go through and she'll fill this out instead of doing vocabulary that day. If there's vocabulary in the novel study, or if there's vocabulary from Modern Speller that I see that I really like, she'll do that instead. So that's why I have it here. Like you'll see there's 3 days in Rover. We did the vocabulary from that book. So that is a caveat for vocabulary. We won't do the daily doodle or whatever day it is. We won't do that if we're working in the School Nest notebook. Okay, copy work and dictation. That's not from the Modern Speller. Because like I said, here's some from Rover. Sometimes we have it in writing and rhetoric. I don't always do it in there because we have it in a lot of other places, but I like to put the letters here so I know where that came from. And like I said, I have a note where I'm keeping track of what all the abbreviations are. Then we have Modern Speller, we have science, geography, and math. As you can see, this is a copied version, and this is the nice paper that came with it. Then I have the independent workbook. As you can see, this is all mental health. So her independent workbooks like this one. And then we have the read aloud books. I use the cube ones here because then I could write the letters in easier. Same here, curriculum, BLJ, Big Life Journal, or mindfulness. I'll again write B or M in here so I know which one I did. So as you see, some of these have numbers. These are both included in the School Nest, but so I picked and choose which one made more sense. So then we have poetry, logic, and art. And then I give myself a couple more in case I change things or add things. So as you can see, there are a lot of topics, but last year I was writing stuff in, and this is probably one of the most important things that I have found over the years is because I like to go back and see how much I did in each subject. Sometimes I'll think I've done a lot and I'll go back and be like, oh my gosh, we didn't do as much as I thought, or vice versa. So it really is helpful for me. It's helpful for me to see how to implement the following year. So again, these are the things from School Nest that are really important to me. Okay, so then this is from that other digital planner, reading logs. So I don't know if I'll use this, but what I would like to do is I would like to write down every single time we do a read aloud to kind of keep track of it. Instead of the author, I'm going to put the amount of pages, and instead of the date, I'm going to put how long we read, because I would like to have some sort of a record of how long we're reading and how often we're reading. That will also help me figure out how to better fit it in if we're not getting stuff in. So I do have a few pages of that. I also have curriculum. Now there is something else I'll show you. that I could use from School Nest, this list and plans, but I just really like how it's laid out. Subject, publisher, title, the money. I have it all right here, so I haven't got a chance to fill this out, but I will. I like to have it in one place. It'll also help me go back when I'm starting to plan for next year and see everything that I have, because there's so much. I had originally tried to do it here and I just didn't have enough room. This I just kept for plans. Now I have a big notebook, just like a 5 subject one that has folders in it that I plan everything. And I like to put final things in my planner. But I thought it couldn't hurt to have some of these pages in here. I also like a book list. I do keep it in my phone, but I thought it might be good, a book list that I see, or maybe I need books from the library. I'm not sure if I'll use that, but I wanted to put it in there. Then we go back to the attendance log. This one is actually from my son. Again, I'm not caught up here. I really need to catch up before I forget the days. Again, he doesn't even need it. This is just for me to see how often we schooled. And as you'll see, I have half circles here. That is because, you know, we've only been doing either Blossom and Root or Letter and Sounds with All About Reading and a few other things. So I do like to know, did we do a full day? Did we do a half day? That kind of gives me an idea. Okay, and then we have his schedule. Now my son is 100% on loops. Loop 1 is Letter and Sounds, and he does that Tuesday through Friday, because Mondays is where we go to outdoor school. My son goes in the morning and my daughter goes in the afternoon. So Letters and Sounds on those days, Tuesday through Friday, he does numbers, shapes, etc. I'll go through that loop. He does a Blossom and Root loop every day. We don't have to, but some of them are really easy. Art, reading, things that I can easily incorporate that he likes to do. My son does like to do things. He likes to be busy. He likes to have things to do. So, and then one day, loop 4 is Spiral, Letter, or Sound review. So since we're not doing a Letter and Sounds, we do 4 days, and then we have a Spiral review to review the letters that we've already learned. Okay, so for loop 1, I have that attached, but I do say 1 day a week, Tuesday through Friday, and then I'll show you the attachment. All right, so for loop 2, you have 7 topics that you're covering: numbers, shapes, colors, sequencing and sorting, patterns, fine motor skills, and MH is for mental health. We do this 1 time a day, Tuesday through Friday. So these subjects we're only getting to maybe once every couple weeks. I may have to change that, but really, I didn't feel like he really needed more at this time. So what I do underneath is see numbers. I list all of the resources that I have for numbers. So what I'll do is I'll just check it off when I've done it. And then I'll know, okay, if we're on numbers, then we go on to this one, and we go on to this one, and we go on to this one. So then again, here we have shapes. So this is all the resources that I have for shapes. I had so many resources that I needed to make sure I was using them. So again, we'll go through the list, and then next time we'll go back through. Colors. So these are the resources I have for colors. These are the resources I have for sequencing and sorting. Again, I just check them off as we go through them. Pattern, fine motor skills, and mental health. Now, fine motor skills, we also do writing with his Letter and Sound. So this is more like you will see mazes, pencil control, cutting and pasting. But honestly, I would have done it more if he hadn't been doing some writing already. Okay, loop 3 is Blossom and Root. This is 1 time a day, every day of the week. Now, I want to let you guys know that sometimes I will do an activity on the weekends. Like, say we don't get something, or the kids are in the mood, because my kids do really like to be busy and have things to do, and they enjoy school, so we'll pull something out. But I've just kind of broken down what it is so I can mark it off. I don't have to go in this order. I'll go through and schedule what I'm doing and just do the next thing I feel is relevant, but this just kind of gives me an idea. And this is the early years volume 1, by the way. Okay, so loop 4, Spiral, Letter, Sound, 1 time a week on Mondays. So I have all of these activities for us to do. We'll also do a lot of these once we've gone through all the letters and sounds. Okay, so now loop 1 is the alphabet. How I have done the alphabet is I'm using All About Reading, plus I have other resources, and I'm actually going to do a pretty in-depth video on this because I've created this 6-day schedule. It's the same for every alphabet. I do change a couple things around, but I have 6 lessons. The first lesson, he's learning about uppercase A. We're doing that with All About Reading and some other activities. Then he's going to do some review on that. Then 3rd day will be lowercase a with All About Reading. We'll do some review activities, and he'll go into the sound of it. with All About Reading, and then we'll do the review of it. So instead of doing the uppercase first, the lowercase, and the sounds, I'm doing it all together. And as we're learning about uppercase A and lowercase a, we are learning the sounds. So he's getting sounds every single day, and I try to have him write the sounds as he's writing the letter. I wasn't going to do a tracing curriculum with him, but he really wants it. So I have made this. I had already started going through this with him before I finalized this to make sure I could get everything in. So as you see, for every single letter, I have it. I do change some of the activities. I'm using All About Reading. I am using Waldock Way's Purposeful Preschool, which is an excellent, excellent complement to this. In addition to Bob Books and a tracing program that I found, which I will go into how I set this up. So I just have every letter. So, and I'll check it off. So for him, I don't actually have, let me get through the end, that many progress trackers. I originally did have them as trackers, but I check everything off here and keep track of it that way. So as you can see, I already haven't had that much from School Nest. I had the calendar, I have the progress trackers, I had other things I added. Here's a progress tracker just in case I need it. I also have a reading log with him. We do read a lot. I would like to keep track of it. It would be ideal to see how many books we're reading. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I put in more reading logs with him because his are picture books and we go through more. I'm also going to fill out his curriculum. I just feel like, again, this will be really handy and helpful. But again, that's going to take a little bit, so I need to get to that. And then I have lists and places to do planning if I need to, and a book list. These are ones I don't know if I'll need. But then I go into the schedule. So I do use this for School Nest. I do have a weekly setup with the other electronic planner that I use that I liked, but I thought I would try this one. So I was able to choose. I chose the 6x6. So it doesn't have Sunday if I wanted, which I don't think I'll be using that. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to set this up, but how I schedule is I'm a reverse planner. If I sit here and plan out what I'm doing and I have to move things around, it just makes it complicated. Having my schedule where I know what I need to be doing every single day is helpful because I can look at that schedule, I can pull everything out, and then as we do it, I will write down what we did. I've actually learned, though, that having this is less important for me than having the progress trackers. The progress trackers is what I go back and reflect on, but I do like having this. It does help me like looking at the back a week or two because I can be like, okay, we did this and we did this, but this is definitely reverse planning. It just is too much otherwise. So I really do like having that. So it has another spread where you have an overview and a schedule. I'm not quite sure what I'll use for these, maybe for notes. This is how it came. So that's how I have it. But I do have 12 weeks here printed out. Because quite honestly, I couldn't fit any more in this. So now let's look at my daily schedule. Okay. So Mondays, for example, I do have a start time that I need to do. Mondays is a little more strict because my son goes to outdoor school from 9 to 12 and my daughter goes from 12 to 4:15. So I drop my son off. I come back and finish homeschooling my daughter. We leave. I drop her off. I pick him up, go home, put him down, go back and pick her up. And so I'm going 3 times a day. So this I had to have a little more strict. I just like to have the time, like for example, 8 to 8:30 and the approximated time underneath to help me. Will we follow this exactly? No, but it gives me a time. Like I know by this time I need to be started because of everything, which means I need to be ready by that day. I have it broken down what we're going to be doing, what I'm going to be doing in here. This is really helpful. Now Tuesdays is less like I need to start by 8 or 8:15. Now you may think this is really early, but my kids get up at like 6:15, and are kind of up and starting their day. They get dressed, they brush their teeth, they eat breakfast. A lot of times we're doing something while we eat breakfast. They like doing that. So they're usually up and ready for it. Now chores, we kind of intermix in between just because trying to get my daughter to get all her chores done before starting school isn't always the easiest for me. So like here, I don't give a time, but I say we need to start around 8 to 8:15 and we just start with one and we just move through. So like, for example, some things we do together, like our meditation circle / gratitude journal. It's where we sit in a circle. We talk about, what is my son running around? where we talk about, you know, something that's bothering us. We do some breathing techniques. We do a couple minutes of meditation, which is just closing your eyes and doing some deep breaths. It's like a check-in. And then our gratitude journal, we do that together. And then like my daughter will go do math. And then I'll do loop 1, letters and sounds with my son. And then I have a break, walk, play outside. And then my daughter will go to independent work. And then I'll do Blossom and Rue with my son. So I'm there to help my daughter if I need to teach her something, if I need to dictate, I'm there. And then the kids do their chores. And then me and Emma read, and Grayson goes and plays. And then he has more play when me and Emma work together. During geography and science, I'm part of some of it, but some of it she does on her own. And in that time, I will do the loop, colors, numbers, etc. And so then I have it on here. They play together while I eat lunch and make the kids lunch. I do this because during lunch, we do our mindfulness cards, a lot of prompts and fun activities. I did make a video on that. And then I also read picture books. My daughter loves picture books. And I like to read my son during picture books during lunch because I don't want him to watch TV before he goes down to a nap. He is 4, but he loves his nap. He is not at a point where he's ready to give it up. He's just too active, I think. So I don't like him watching TV before he goes to bed because he has a hard time. So we'll do that there, but I can't read and do those activities and eat lunch as well. So I like to eat alone first while they're like playing outside. And then we do that. And then my son goes down and my mom usually comes around 1:30 to do history and science with my daughter for maybe an hour. I mean, she's probably here longer, maybe a couple hours, but her and my daughter are goofing off a lot of the time. So I would say they're probably only doing maybe an hour, maybe less of stuff. So, and there's a good break, and that's when I work. So Wednesday and Thursday are both the same start time. And then Friday, I have it's approximately 2 hours and 15 minutes to 2 hours and 45 minutes. That's if I'm including geography and science, but that also includes breaks here. So start to finish, if I'm giving them all the breaks, that's the amount of time that I anticipate. And in these schedules, you see, I have coordinated when I'm doing Emma and when I'm doing Grayson. Now, this is the part that may change because I don't know how it's going to flow. I don't know how it's going to work, but I think my loops and what I'm doing every single day are going to kind of stay the same. But this did take me some trial and error to get to. So I think that is everything. Oh, right here in the beginning is where I'm going to be putting the abbreviations. So I really should add that in here. The R, I'm going to do that while we're here. R equals a rover's story. Because as I continue to add abbreviations in here, I'm really going to need to know. So let's put abbreviations. Okay. So there you go. That is my schedule. Can't be complete without those highlighting. These I really need to utilize more in my planners. They are awesome. So these are the tools that I like to use in here. All right, guys, I really hope that that was helpful. Maybe gave you some ideas. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. I always love to chat with you guys. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.